Okay, so we're just going to introduce you to one of our best achievements as a client. So this is Becky. She worked with us, and we're going to kind of talk you through what she did and where she came from, her background behind her weight loss. So if I could pass over to you then, Becky, if you can just give us a little bit of an overview of where you were before you even kind of came on board with us, before you even walked into a gym. Like, what's your story behind your weight loss or weight gain, whichever way you want to talk about it?
Well, basically, over the years, I've never ever looked after myself. So before I even started my weight loss journey, wouldn't have gone into a gym, wouldn't have thought about diet. I sometimes dipped in and out of Slimming World or Weight Watchers, pretending to do it and then come back out of it again. But over the years, I creeped up from like 10.5 stone to like 17 stone. It was just a progressive thing. And the more fed up I got, or the more depressed I got, the more I thought about it, the more I'd eat, just to actually make myself feel better, but in the way it doesn't make you feel better. And then I just decided that something had to change, and that's when it all changed for me.
So
Awesome.
what barriers were in your way? If you think of someone, or you think of you back then, what was your kind of mindset like in terms of asking for help, or the thought of asking for help? Where you was in terms of just body confidence? Where were you
mentally, I was frightened. I was scared. Didn't want to ask for help because I didn't think I needed any help. I thought I could do it on my own. And then I thought, if I did get help, would people laugh at me? The fat person wandering around a gym or wandering around to ask for help? Because obviously there's a stigma, isn't there? Or there was a stigma. People wandering around, what do? Do you sit on the couch all day eating chocolate, eating biscuits, eating that? And I was struggling with that mentally to get myself out of that, because the more you put all that pressure on yourself, the worse it gets. So that's how I was mentally. I wasn't prepared to seek help for a long while because I didn't think anybody could help me.
Yes, it's almost like you're fearful of like literally reaching out for that first point of like, can I reach out and can I actually get this help that I need?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. And you just think that people are going to think that, oh my God, look at the state of her, look at what she's done to herself over these years. And it is the case, it is you that does it, but then you put the pressure on yourself as well to actually not want to help, want help to get out of it, because you're just digging yourself into a further hole all the while.
Okay, and then if we kind of like fast forward a little bit before we actually talk about the process of how you lost the weight. So you'd gone from 10 stone, and over the years you'd slowly gone up to like 17 stone, like you just touched on. Like, so how much weight loss did you get when you were working with us through the system?
I went down to 12 stone. So I went down to, my lowest was 12 stone, and my confidence grew. So it wasn't just a case of the weight loss. It was a case of, it's an emotional journey as well. So it's not just about looking in the mirror and seeing the weight come off or changing clothes. And sometimes you'll even still see the fat person in the mirror looking back at you, because that's like an alter ego that you carry around with you sometimes. But the journey for me was a case of losing the weight. It was emotional. There was some times that I was on a high, wandering around thinking, oh my God, I look fantastic. And there was other times thinking, my God, who am I kidding? But no, so I've lost quite a bit of weight. I'm proud of what I've achieved. I'm proud of what I've done. I'm also really in a different mindset now, totally to what I was when I started, because I know that I can do it with the help and support and the right aids that are there.
So that's 70 pounds of weight loss for anyone that's watching this that doesn't work in stone. Like, that's literally 70 pounds over the process.
So if we go back to
the one thing I used to do in weight terms is I used to go into Tesco's. This is a really sad thing, and every time I lost weight, I'd put bags of sugar in the basket just to say that's how much weight I'd actually lost. That's a really weird thing, but that's what kept me going, thinking, oh my God, that's how much weight I've actually lost.
It's a good
It's visual, so it's visual.
It's a good visual. So if you go back to like the point where you reached out for help as such, what was like the final straw for you? You spent all these years struggling, all these years kind of beating yourself up. What was the defining thing for you to think, I need to do something about this?
I was coming up to 40, and I I've got a really nice life, a really good life, but I didn't want to end leaving my family and my friends without me, sort of thing, because I know I was struggling. Sometimes couldn't move. My body was just too heavy. In the summer, I'd be bloated and swollen up. In the winter, I just felt frumpy because I was hiding behind loads of layers, and the more layers you put on, the bigger you look. And I just was getting worried about how it was affecting my body and my mind, sort of thing. So I needed to do something. And I wanted to be fit and 40.
Yeah. So then, as this kind of journey started for you, what was if you can think about even like the first week, the first month, the first couple of weeks, like what was that for you trying to develop this new way of doing things?
Oh my God, it was the most confusing thing for me, because I was losing weight and I was doing the right thing, and I was putting everything together and doing healthy stuff and everything. But for me, it was just so surreal that I was that person doing all this stuff, and that I'd got all the support to do it. People were talking to me, people were monitoring me, people were helping me through it. But it was the most scariest thing, starting to lose weight, because then I started to have a panic when I went out to buy food, because I think, can I have that? Can't I have that? But it all slotted into place quite quickly. But for the first month, it was the scariest part of the journey for me ever, because I was doing something for myself.
And do you think, did you have like you touched on the fact that you were 40, did you kind of have like the kind of limiting beliefs that like because of your age you'd never be able to do it, or because of your age it would be harder?
Yeah, I did. And I always thought that because I was getting older, if I didn't do something, it would be harder for me to lose weight as I got to my mid-40s, coming on to 50. So it is, and it is in a mindset sort of thing that you think as you're getting older, you're going to store weight more. I don't understand where that comes from. I think it's just something that's passed down the generations.
Yeah, definitely.
So with this process, then, you've gone through this confusing phase of trying to learn this skill of losing weight. What were the kind of things that kept you going, apart from weighing bags of sugar in Tesco? What was the other things that you saw, like small wins, which kind of gave you that momentum to carry on?
My clothes getting looser. So my clothes getting absolutely looser. And it was just before Christmas. I can't remember the year, but it was just before Christmas. I walked into a pub with some of my friends, and somebody just made the comment, "Oh my God, you've lost so much weight." To me, it wasn't a lot at that time, but to them, it changed my face. It had changed the way I looked in clothes. So it was developing my body. But it was just clothes getting bigger, I think, was the biggest thing for me. Because I'd never had clothes that were loose on me. They were always tight. I was always cramming my body into clothes because I didn't want to go up to the next size. This was like the biggest thing for me, is my clothes going looser.
Okay.
And the confidence.
So in terms of body confidence, like how did that shift from where you started to where you are?
Oh, it's amazing. The body confidence now, I know. So instead of buying clothes that hide my body, I buy clothes I know look nice on me and fit me nice. And I'm not buying clothes that I'm just trying to ram all the fat inside. Does that, and not wearing, now if I, it's because I want to wear it, not because I'm trying to hide all the fat underneath it. And going into a shop and knowing what size I need to buy, knowing that I'm going to get that little victory when I go in because I'm still in that same size, makes me so much more confident as a person. Whereas before, I'd go in, buy a size and wouldn't try it on in the shop because I didn't know it was going to fit me.
So shopping wasn't an enjoyable experience for you?
No. My husband actually thinks wished it wasn't now for me, but it is quite an enjoyable experience.
Poor man. So what were, like, in terms of the process, what did you find most helpful?
Most helpful was just probably guidance sometimes on lifting weights, doing all the weight training and things like that. I mean, that's quite a lot for me, because as I'd never been in a gym before, never done anything in a gym before, having guidance with food was helpful. Being able to send my food diary over and say, is this okay, what I've had today? Or if I'd had like a bad day, do my food diary anyway and then be pulled up on it. The gym side was a massive thing as well, because I'd never been in a gym, never done gym work. So having somebody just to support and help with the weight side of it was a massive thing. For me, that was sort of the big mindset for me, because I was always frightened I was going to hurt myself. I still am now when I'm training sometimes, because I'm clumsy. So having that guidance was helpful.
Yeah,
it's like the accountability and the support, which is probably where most people on their kind of weight loss, fat loss, whatever journey you want to call it, it's really having that accountability along the way. So, you know, it's not always going to be plain sailing, but if you've got that support network around you, like, you can always keep moving forward. So whether it's the case of reviewing your food diary like you just touched on, or it's having that support when you walk into a gym, like being able to like get in contact with us and say, like, you know, am I doing this right? Then, you know, that's where most people we see normally fail, isn't it, Chris? So
yeah, 100%. That confusion of doing it on your own, basically. So
yeah.
like, Becky, for you, like, because we speak to a lot of women who are similar weight to what you was when you started, and we obviously know that they're crapping themselves talking to us most of the time, but then feeling very unconfident in terms of actually engaging into a conversation with us and really trying to get something started. Like, if you can take yourself back to when you was in that mindset of fear, like, what would you do differently now in terms of how quick would you have got started compared to what you did?
I probably would have started it years earlier, to be fair. I probably would have, if I'd have took value in myself and in my own health and my own fitness, I would have done it years and years earlier. Because at the end of the day, being scared of something, sometimes facing that head on is the best way to deal with it. And being scared of it means you're actually trying to hide behind the fear, to not take the leap of faith and trust somebody to talk to.
Yeah. And what would you kind of say to those women that are going to watch this? They're going to be that similar starting weight, wanting to lose 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. Like, what would your advice be to them now?
Take it day by day. Do everything day by day. Don't rush ahead, plan ahead. Don't start saying, I'm going to do this by this point. Take it each day at a time, because it's not going to happen overnight. It's not a miracle pill, not any miracle drink that you can get in the shop. You have to do it day by day. And yeah, there are going to be days that you have a bad day, but they will outweigh the good days will outweigh the bad days, and you will find that the weight comes off you, and it will either come off you slowly and gradually, or come off you big chunks at a time. But just bear with it, because it is worth it. The confidence and the mindset you get from it after is worth it.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So yeah,